Okay, it's Monday and I got a delivery from Walmart today. So I usually like ordering things from Walmart on a Monday. Just seems like I've always had such good luck with the one in Wisconsin Dells. Seems like everybody's got everything together on a Monday. So I went ahead and ordered some little carrots just to snack on. Usually $1.88. Bigger carrots were $2.67, 2 pounds of them. Cinnamon sticks for a drink that I'm going to make with Granny Smith apples, and those were $3.28. Pineapple was $2.28. Granny Smith apples were $4.62 for 3 pounds. The lemons were 29 cents a piece. The blueberries, two something, either $2.28 or $2.82, and this is for I believe it is a pint. Some cashews. I've recently been asked to review an item. I belong to a canning and gardening group, and if you've watched previous videos, I've done up some fermented products, fermented drinks. I did some lemonade also, and I've done grapefruit, and I just did some red onions and stuff like that. So this company thought that I might like to try another way to preserve things, so I bought some cashews. My husband normally eats either walnuts or, I want to say pecans. No, I think it's walnuts, and I can't think of the other nut. And then before he's even done with them, they're like stale or rancid or whatever, they just don't taste right. So I figured, he also likes cashews, so I figured I'd buy some of these because these were on rollback and will preserve the part that he doesn't munch on. And then he can just crack into that whenever he wants some more, and that way they'll stay nice and fresh. So I bought that, and I think these were I don't know, they were under $4. Rollback, and then the bread was $2.24. This is our favorite bread, whether it's the large loaf or the small. I only need a small loaf for what's left of the week, so butternut $2.24. And that's my little Monday morning grocery haul, plus 24 cans of kitty food. I believe it came to $37.60. I used some Walmart cash, and I also used some money I earned from Walmart surveys. So $37.60 is the total for this, and I probably end up paying like $30.28. And then of course I always add in a tip as well, so the tip was above and beyond what figures I just mentioned. Okay, we'll start with a few things that we picked up at Walmart. So bought some Raisin Nut Bran, my husband's preferred box of cereal or brand of cereal. We like to keep 2 in the house. We're down 1, so we got that for $3.98. Some organic milk, a gallon of it, for $7.97. Then I ordered these Hidden Valley Ranch coleslaw dressings. Can't buy them in the store. We can never find them. It's always sold out. So I go ahead and order them from Walmart, and then they just get shipped. So either that afternoon, if I order them in the morning, that afternoon or the following day, someone drops them at the front door. And those are the same price that they are in the store, $2.73 a container, and each container lasts us 1 month worth of coleslaws for my husband, and he takes coleslaw to work 4 days a week, 4 months out of the month, or 4 weeks out of the month. So it lasts a good long time and a good price. Got some sliced bread because we're going to be having some lasagna this weekend I'm going to have 2 friends in for lasagna, so we've got some sliced French bread for garlic toast. Picked up some more English muffins. These ones are buttermilk by Thomas, to do eggs, sausage, and muffins for breakfast, English muffins for breakfast. This bread, of course, was $1.47. The English muffins were $2.22. The green onions were $1.17. Organic bananas, because there was only a few regular bananas, were 52 cents a pound. Regular bananas are 50 cents a pound. These buns were $1.86 for just a 4-pack. That's really all we need. If we put more than that in the freezer, which we don't like to, we usually like to, if we're going to have a hot dog, we each have 2 hot dogs. We use the buns up. They're gone until the next time you want hot dogs, and then we go out and buy buns, because our freezers just seem to like to freezer burn these really good soft buns. And then some croissants for another breakfast type meal next week, where I'm just going to have bacon and the croissant and a scrambled or like an omelet-like egg flopped on it, and with the meat and cheese. That's going to be for a meal with fried potatoes. I always call them home fries, but they're fried potatoes that I use up potatoes that I've had. We don't eat a lot of potatoes anymore, but we're going to boil some potatoes for potato salad, and then I'm not going to be using all of those for the potato salad, so I'm going to fry them up. So 2 breakfast meals coming up and a lasagna meal coming up. That is the first part of the haul. Okay, a couple more things that we've got that are pretty much staples. So I got some of these cucumbers. These aren't Walmart's regular cucumbers. These were brought in by a local farmer. So each one of these were 68 cents. I already had one. Delicious. Very tasty. The red cabbage was 89 cents a pound. The green cabbage was 79 cents a pound. Same with these Romas. They were not just the regular Romas. These were cases from a local vegetable producer. And so these were 98 cents a pound. Peaches, not sure where they were grown. They're kind of hard. We're going to see if we can soften them up. Usually what I do is put them in a cupboard in a bowl, open it up every day and take a look and make sure that it's not rotting, that it's ripening, and it usually takes 3 days in the cupboard. Some Lara bars, $18.98 as always. These semi-sweet chocolate chips were 25 cents an ounce. They beat out all the other ones. So this is 2 pounds, 4 ounces. And so break that into 3 different bags. I'm not making any cookies right now, but I will as soon as fall comes. And so this is a really good price. The other prices, like for the smaller bags, were 38 cents an ounce and 42 cents an ounce. So I think we did good, and these freeze well. I just put it in either the grocery store bag, because they don't fit in a freezer bag, or just break it into 3 and put each one in a sandwich bag and then a freezer bag, and they're good for 6 months in the freezer. And then of course Kitty's food, some different kinds. What we do is he can't taste anything, and a lot of this food nowadays not only doesn't smell like anything. If it doesn't smell like anything, I don't imagine it tastes like anything. Now, I haven't given it a try or anything like that because I don't want any issues with my digestive system. So he's never had any issues from eating this, but he doesn't appear to be able to taste anything with it. And I think that's the popularity of all these like gravies and stuff people squirt all over the food or give to the cat directly. Our cat doesn't like any of that kind of stuff. So it kind of becomes kind of a challenge to get him to eat something, and it would be for us too if we couldn't smell it and we couldn't taste it. But so we're trying different varieties. So if you ever have a kitty that's kind of fussy in that and he's on one thing, whatever you get, sometimes when you get the 2 together, like this is beef and chicken, right away it straightens things out and he's back to eating again. He never really has stopped eating, but sometimes he'll go from 2.5 cans down to 2 cans, and for us it kind of panics us a bit, even though we know he's 18 and obviously he's not going to eat the way he's always, well, maybe he will, you just never know. So we've been trying different things, and then what he doesn't eat, sometimes we crack a can open, he's like adamant not to eat it. He's just a finicky cat. He has been his whole life. So we'll put it back in the refrigerator, because we always refrigerate everything, and then we give that can, and then we always have at least one, sometimes another can for Jack. We now have Jack on this food. That's the outside kitty we feed on this food, because if he's going to have a hard knocks life like he so far has had, we want to feed him what we think is good food. Now, we can't afford IAMS or Science Diet, and when we had our own cat on that, he didn't do any better than he does on this. So, but a little bit better than some of the food we could feed Jack, because he's already behind the 8 ball as far as being out all the time, being in different types of weather, may or may not be sick. I know I have wormed him, I've defleed him, I've given him an antibiotic in his food. What else do? We put some tick medicine on him so that would fight ticks, because he had ticks in his face. So we've done that part, and we still have time yet to try to capture him and get him neutered. So, but he eats whatever our kitty doesn't eat, and then we give him at least 1.5 cans of his own, and that's every day. So our animals and then feeding nature take up a good part of our budget. But my husband and I are pretty simple. We eat simple things, simple food, simple meals. So what you've seen in grocery hauls is doing us just fine, and neither one of us have ever missed a meal, so at least not for several years. So that is the produce part. I'm going to show you what we picked up at Farmer Laura. If you've watched videos of mine before, you know we have plenty of meat in the freezer at this time until sometime in the early part of September. And of course, we have potatoes, and we have rice, and we have noodles, and broths, and homemade soups, and all kinds of stuff. And so right now we're just trying to get produce at the grocery store at a good price and produce from our local farmer. Okay, and this is what we picked up from Laura when we also went out there to her cut flower farm and picked some bouquets. So we got a pound of green beans, and those were $3.50. These big zucchinis, so the summer squash, those were $2. And then the two zucchinis, two for $2. And then a pound and a half of lettuce. Very nice, fresh lettuce. So very pleased with that. And this was $4.50. This is not from Farmer Laura, but one of her friends. Farmer Laura is selling heads of lettuce right now, and I'd rather just have this loose lettuce. So happy with that, and that amount will last us probably 3 salads, but we have it with another meal. And then I'll show you the bouquets that we got. She opened it today. We were one of her first customers, even though it was smoky outside. We spent about 15 minutes outside. I cut some pretty flowers, some of my favorite, to support Laura. She is a friend of ours. She has been providing us with vegetables for several years now, so we wanted to show our support, so I'll show you those. Okay, this is my pantry on July 17th, 2026. Not a whole lot has been replenished. Just the thing, if we use it, you know, in a month's time, if I use 4 cans of soup, I buy 4 cans of soup the next time I go shopping. If I use, you know, we started with 8 pounds of spaghetti, and we're finally down to let me see, 6 pounds of spaghetti. So we've come a ways with that, and we'll have quite a ways left to go before I go out and buy spaghetti. Elbow macaronis, we started with 4 pounds. We're down to 1 pound, so that's good still. Because I've got other noodles that I bought. I bought some in the international aisle. Like my husband loves this vermicelli type noodle when it's, you know, chopped up. He loves that. Little shells. We couldn't find any little shells. We found those at Walmart. And then I was given these by somebody that I helped with gardening. So that was from Stonewall Kitchen. Very nice. Given this. Somebody went to New Orleans recently. Brought me back that. I thought that was really cool. I've never had this coffee. Always wanted to go to New Orleans, but never been. Bought this big box of rice for like $4 on Amazon, and that will last quite a while. These are for s'mores. I don't know if we're going to get to that this summer. You know, so still have plenty of black beans. We have the amount. I've set the amount of how many of each canned good that I want to be able to take care of and rotate, and what we actually use. So our pantry just has what we actually use. I still need to make that lemon cake, but I have friends coming for coffee on Sunday, so I hope to do that then. But there's my soup, my husband's soup, the chocolate chips that you'll see in a grocery haul, tea bags still. We've got broth if I don't make homemade. Still got backups of ketchup and mayonnaise, and my little Miracle Whip I'm taking out this weekend to make potatoes, potato salad. We've got all these chocolate spreads. That's what my husband likes to have once in a while for a breakfast sandwich. And the grape jam for the birds outside. Some packets of applesauce. We bought that at Walmart. It was like it was $12, and then it went down to $7.88. So we bought those. Those are nice to take when we go on a walk. And some honey and some Jell-O. Bought black cherry Jell-O. I thought that sounded good. Still got some canned chicken and some canned tuna. So there's nothing else that we need. Everything that's a staple that I can make soups with, or salads with, casseroles with, sloppy joes with, any of our vegetable dishes with. And then if I don't feel like it, cans of soup, our spaghetti and meatballs, or lasagna meal, salads, all of it is down here. Condiments. Okay, we have a farm stand that comes to town every year about this time when the corn is ready, so we went and stopped at that today. It's just a few blocks from our house. It stays up until October after pumpkin season, so we got 7 ears of corn for $4.50. That's generally what they go for. I mean, for the last decade, that's what I remember them selling for. We've been eating it for 25 years. I can still remember when I bought a dozen ears of corn for $1.50. 25 years ago. So a clove of garlic, or bulb of garlic, for 75 cents, and some slicer tomatoes, $1.09 a pound. So with that and everything else featured in the video, that's pretty much July groceries. I'll have the total in the description. Besides just maybe a loaf of bread, some milk, and orange juice, which I will also add in the last video of July. That's about it for food for our household, July 2026.